It is what it is with Triggz. You know. How's everyone going out there? Thank you for tuning in. Love and respects to each and every one of you who's have dropped by, especially for those around the world, different time zones. I know it's hard, hence the reason I started 7 p.m. now, just to make it a bit easier for everyone overseas. My live tonight, big shout out to all my sponsors, starting from Aussie Tires, Confidential Cosmetic, Dealer Car Sales, and Quick Smart Electrics. You know, I wouldn't have been able to do this without these guys. The sponsorship is what helped with all this equipment, and obviously it's what's keeping the Wi-Fi. Speedy Gonzalez from what Quick Smart Electrics told me that day, my Wi-Fi is quicker than the Telstra. Yeah, big shout out to my sponsors. Without them, this wouldn't have been. I wouldn't have been able to make this happen. Also, shout out to my team too, Classic Irish, Liam, PR, and the wife. Wouldn't have been able to put any of this together without them. So I'm gonna take this off right now because I don't need it. Yalla yalla. This is my first. What do you call these earphones?
Different.
What do you call it?
You're getting it.
Oh yeah, this is my first ever gaming set. So gaming set earphones, headphones, or whatever they are. Tonight we're gonna be having a big chat about a few things, especially about boys who have come and gone. To all of you who have been tuning in on Instagram, obviously a lot of my time is spent over there, and my lives are all over here on TikTok. You guys have been seeing how I've been reaching out a lot now to the younger generation. When I first started on here, I had the ages between I think it was 30 to 45. Those were the people that were watching. But now the younger generation have come in, 18 to 25. So yeah, they're hearing us, you know, and I think one of the biggest things is goals. You know, like I was saying to a few of the youngsters in the last couple of days, you know, short-term goals, long-term goals, and I wanted to be right here, right now. I asked my team to put this cell behind me, yeah, because I wanted all the youngsters to be able to see where I sat for 10 years. And then I come home, but also I went back there and I sat there for 7 years. I'll get back to this cell around about the end of my life. We've got an hour to kill, so let's get straight into the stories. But before we do, everyone can all see the screen at the top, yeah? So I told you all when I went live the first time that I had a goal. And my goal was to make $1 million in 12 months. And like I said, I don't know if I'm going to get there or not, but I was definitely going to try. And no one was going to stop me from doing it. But the thing is, I was going to be doing it all legitimately. So as you guys can see at the top, it says 1 million in 1 year, legitimately. As of right now, in the account, my team have put it up there. There's $121,000 that's come through in the last 3 months. So going steady, but like I said, we just started, you know. There's 255 days to go. And like I said, I'm not here trying to make money off you guys. I have a plan. I've been targeting this course that I'm bringing out for the younger generation and the young adults. That's my focus, yeah. And a lot of the money that's up on the screen right now came from companies and friends as soon as I got out of prison. And the only dollar that I spent out of that was money that I used to get this equipment in order to bring a bit of professionalism to the table for you guys. And obviously, like, look at it, looking pretty good right now, yeah. So yeah, that's where we're at, guys. 121,000, and it's gonna actually show you guys. This is called a ticker. So the ticker will go up and go down. When it goes down, it means that I'm spending money, obviously, to make money. And if it goes up, it means that I'm making money. This is gonna be on for the next 255 days. So I've got 1 year to make these $1 million. Like I said, I'm not here to grab any what's it called, cash off any of you guys. This is my thing that I'm doing outside of social media. And as you guys all know, money that came from my lives was donated to a football team. The kids, they were called rebel soldiers, all young kids who are very strong-minded. Their first year was last year, and they didn't have any sponsorship this year because obviously the kids are getting bigger. And I thought that would be somewhere good to put my TikTok money, you know, like sponsoring the young kids with the hope that these guys will focus on footy because that's what they love. So big shout out to DJ Stan. He's Tongan, and him and his team are the reason that Rebel Soldiers exist. And it's the reason that I donated, because I trust DJ Stan, as he was one that that helped my wife while I was locked up. I was introduced to him by another close friend of mine named DJ Tickles. So tonight we're gonna start off with Blackie. So Blackie's an Aussie guy. Whoa, lion. Bro, I love you. Thank you very much. How come I can't see any of that here? Uzo. Oh, right. My love and respects to all of you, bro, for sending through what you are sending through. I need to be able to see like what's going on. Like it's not coming up, any of the gifts and stuff. Sorry guys, I just want to be able to while I'm going live, I want to be able to see what's coming through, so I can thank you as it's coming through. Just want to make sure that it's done properly.
Should come up on the ones.
Yeah. All right, sweet. I can hear myself over here. All right. Can everyone still hear me? Everyone's all good? All right, let's start off with I love ya. Thank you very much for the line. Right, sweet. I'm so confused because I'm used to using my phone going live, but now I'm on a PC. It's a totally different world. I can't see any of the GIFs, and I have to read. So it's a bit annoying. But what's called Blackie is an Aussie guy from Wollongong. All right. When I first met this guy, it was 2012. He was young, and he was like a very strong-minded kid who just didn't care about the world, you know. So to all the youngsters that are going through what they're going through right now, Blackie was also going through this stuff, you know, like he was down and out, and he was struggling. And when I met him, he couldn't even get a buyout. So he had a lot of friends outside in Wollongong. None of his friends were helping him with food, money, nothing. It was pretty much just pretty sure it was his mum that I stayed in touch with. and yeah, so while he was inside, his drug habit got worse and worse, yeah. And he ended up joining a gang called FLC, Frontline Crims. That's what it stood for. these were guys who were rebels, but they started an internal crew, which was like a family crew, yeah. And Blackie ended up joining up with them, and obviously Blackie runs amok everywhere he goes. He's attacking people and attacking officers. He just didn't care, you know. He had nothing to live for because he just had a bad drug habit that he couldn't afford, you know. And one thing that Blackie used to complain to me about was the friends that he was loyal to. He went above and beyond for all his friends. He did this and he done those ones for his friends. And from what he said is every time I come to prison, I'm always by myself. And that's why I always stipulate this fact to the younger generation. You know, going above and beyond is an easy thing that you're doing right now, but let's talk about going above and beyond when it's time for you, you know, to have it. Because once you're inside prison, everyone will disappear one by one, you know. Especially too when you get sentenced to a big whack, watch all of them disappear. Even your family will disappear. I guarantee you, you know. Like mom and dad, you know, sisters. They were the ones that I saw a lot. You know, you got a few brothers that stick by their family members who get locked up, but the sisters, the moms and dads are the ones that go hard, you know. So the big story about Blackie is he got inside prison at Park Lee, and it was an argument that broke out with another inmate. And what nobody knows is Blackie was actually trying to stand over this inmate for drugs, all right? And when he was trying to stand over this inmate, he didn't realize that the inmate had shivs on him, yeah? And the other inmate didn't actually want any issues with him, but he was ready because that's prison. You're always ready to go, ready to rock, you know? And as he kept going, Blackie pulled out his own shiv from his pants, yeah? And pretty much when he pulled it out, he threatened him and said to him, yeah, we'll see, yeah? There was a lot of guys that was in the cell this day when it was happening, and there was cameras in there. And when Blackie made this threat, straight away, this other guy, I'm not going to mention his name, but he got intimidated. So from what I hear, he beat the charges, and he needed to beat the charges. Like, they had no right to charge him because Blackie was the one that started it, and Blackie was the one who pulled the shoe out first, you know. Anyway, to cut a long story short, one of the guys that was in the cell covered the camera with wet toilet paper, yeah. And it was at that moment that the fight broke out, and Blackie got a few times and ended up going hospital, and he passed away. And so this is something that the younger generation needs to know. This was over rubbish, literally over rubbish. Blackie trying to stand over the other guy was quiet, and then he made his move. And this is what happens inside prison. If you guys want to be dealing with this type of issues, then by all means do your gang thing, you know. Like I always say, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm just telling you stories that I was in and amongst, or telling you my stories with the hope that you guys learn from it. And Blackie, he was a good kid, you know, like he didn't need to join any gang. He was staunch on his own, but he done a lot of stupid things because he had a drug habit, you know. Leave the drugs out of it, and he was like the best bloke. Just like that Esa Kafavalu. Like, if you see Esa without drugs, best bloke, you know, like, and have a laugh with him all day long. But Blackie, he's he was one that he didn't deserve what happened. Like, obviously some people deserve things like that, because bullies inside prison is like is one thing that I didn't condone, you know, because there was a lot of bullies who used to do a lot of standover towards the younger boys. And Blackie was one who used to stand over the younger Aussie boys, but he had a big heart too, because he used to stick up for a lot of the Aussie boys when dramas would break out. And like I always tell you guys, A lot of the Aussie boys don't stick up for themselves, and they don't ever band together when drama breaks out, and that's the reason why they're not one of the majorities when it comes to prison strength. But losing his life, like I remember there was a lot of chatter throughout prison and throughout Wollongong, everyone shedding tears, everyone sending their love and respects, and I was like, Blackie used to tell me about all of yous, and not one of yous did anything for Blackie. You know, like the bloke struggled, not only outside, but also in prison. And yeah, I'm not going to take it, I'm not trying to stick up for him. The bloke was a maniac. You know, he ran amok outside and he ran amok inside. But at the end of the day, I also know that a lot of the charges that that he got throughout his whole life was charges that came because he stuck up for his friends. You know, he never snitched them in, and he did what needed to be done when they were in a group. But as soon as he got locked up, poof, they all disappeared. Yeah. And rest in peace to Blackie. Like and I hope that his family is living well. You know, I know Blackie gave a lot of people hell, but when I was with him, he was actually a gentleman, and everyone in the Islander yard got along with him. All right, moving along. Maybe 35 now, but when I met him, it was over 10 years ago, and he was just young, and he's from Mount Druitt, I think in Shelby. His name was Jobsy. This kid was the best kid. He was a gentleman, and he would help anyone. And his sister Thelma used to go above and beyond, like not only for the boys, but also for myself and for her family, you know. And he's also got a sister named Jenny as well. Right, every single week, Jobsy was getting visits from his sisters, and that's what I mean. Jobsy had a lot of friends. Like, it's Mount Druitt, everyone there's boys, yeah. But guess what? As soon as Jobsy got locked up, who was visiting him every week? His sisters. Who was putting money in his account every week? His sisters. Like, when Jobsy, the younger brother, passed away, I just seen all these guys trying to get his name tattooed on them. I seen all these guys like shedding tears over him, and like remembering old stories from back in the days. And you know, these are things that I that I witnessed throughout prisons, and I bring it up in order for the youngsters to understand what you go through when you're inside prison. Trust me, you all think that it's easy going when you're in a group, but as soon as the consequences come, that's when everyone disappears. You know, like I have to tell you Jobsy's story, because this kid, he was on another level when it came to being a kind-hearted kid. Yeah, he grew up in Mount Druitt. He loved motorbikes, and he had big love from everyone around the area. Yeah. And when he got locked up, I was a bit shocked, because I'm not used to him being a kid that starts big trouble. But when he got locked up, he was telling me about the robberies and stuff that he was involved in, and I was shocked, because I was like, wow, I didn't even know this kid was involved in this, you know. And I could see his face when he was talking, and it was all about not understanding why his friends were disappearing, you know, because only his sisters were there throughout the hard times. And when I was with him at Lithgow prison, he had his head down the whole time, and I remember turning to him and I was saying to him, Uzo, you all good? He said, yeah, it's fine. Man, it's the boys, man, because they always booking visits and they're not turning up. Like, I don't know why they even bother booking visits. And let me tell you something, guys, yeah? You know, when it comes to prison, if you book a visit and you don't turn up to your visit, it is the worst thing that you could do to an inmate. You know, like, it doesn't matter if it's mom, dad, brothers, sisters. If you book a visit, bro, turn up, man. You know, like, or at least have a good excuse, you know? Because I'm telling y'all, like, there's two things that I always warned my people about. Yeah. Number one was I would rather get jumped by 10 guys than get into that truck that takes you on escort. I hated those truck rides. Like, you're stuck in there with, like, back in my day, it was 4 on my side, 4 on this side. So 8 guys, yeah? And I'm pretty sure it was 4 or 5. So it's either 8 or 10 guys inside a truck. Mate, it's friggin' stuffy in there. Half the guys in there wouldn't be showering, so it stinks. And then some of the guys would be smuggling cigarettes. So imagine this, if you don't smoke and the truck is driving, there's cameras in there so the screws can see everything, but the screws are not allowed to stop the truck, yeah? And when these guys spark up a smoke and you're inside the truck, mate, it's the worst thing ever. And that's why I'm saying to you guys, like, to you youngsters out there, when you go to prison, you're not going to be going to Supermax, or you're not going to be traveling in the 4 drives like I was. You're going to be in the big trucks. You ever see those big white trucks? It's always on the streets. There's a lot of them, yeah? There's inmates inside those big white trucks. And that right there is the worst thing that I could say that I dealt with when I was in prison. Going in those trucks was the biggest headache. The amount of times that I used to attack other inmates inside inside those trucks, and it was because they would smoke a cigarette while I was in there, you know. So everyone is handcuffed. Imagine 5 guys there, 5 guys here, everyone's sitting there. Half of the boys don't friggin' smoke, and then I say the same thing to everyone. I go, look, boys, please, the truck's about to move. If you want to smoke now, because once the truck moves, like, mate, I don't want to smell that shit, you know. And I always say it politely and like a gentleman. And always there's got to be one that sparks it up while everyone's sleeping, waiting to get to their allocated prison or to their allocated courthouse. And once you're handcuffed like this, as soon as you smell that cigarette or as soon as you're pissed off at someone, straight away you're jumping over the chair and you're trying to attack with your handcuffs on. You're trying to throw kicks. Like, these dramas actually happen in the truck. The amount of dramas that pop off in the truck is, you know, like, it's if only the screws were allowed to release all the footage from inside these trucks. I swear, the amount of rubbish as well that I hear inmates talk inside this truck, I'm like, hey, there's freaking cameras up there. Like, why are you talking about your case and about stupid things that you've done when you were outside? There's cameras inside this truck and they can hear everything, you know. Anyway, with Jobsy, he had given up on his friends. So while he was doing time with me, obviously I explained to you guys how he was down and out, not because of his family, but because he was upset at his friends booking visits, not turning up. And the whole time he was in there, he probably got a visit 3-4 times from his mates. And guess who brought his mates to visits? His sisters. Bro, I'm not even like laughing at that situation, because that situation happened to me too. You know, like, I had boys when I was locked up back when I was 18 years old, and when they would turn up to visit me, they would ask my parents for a lift, and I was like, bro, you got your own friggin' cars. Like, how about you drive yourself and come to visit? What are you annoying my parents for, you know? Anyway, here's a big story for you guys out there, you know, about Jobsy. Like, he got outside and he decided to go straight. And remember, he had spent his whole childhood life kicking it with the Mount Jewett boys, you know. All these guys that you guys are hearing about on YouTube and shit, like that Franny and all his mates, like the OC guys. All these guys grew up with Jobsy, you know, and Jobsy got out and he decided to cut ties with everyone from Mount Jewett, you know. And I remember him telling me when he got out, he goes, far out, it's my time to start a new life with Zor. And I didn't understand what he meant, and then he explained to me that he was moving to another area out of Mount Jewett, and that was his way of getting away from all his friends that left him with it. And it's not like he hated on his friends. He loved his friends. because they're childhood friends. What he hated was the fact that they left him with it, and only his family stood by him. And then he had a missus that I don't know. I never heard about anything about her, but he was the one that that he ended up moving to another area with. Yeah, and listen to this. As soon as he moved areas, he started a new job. An accident happened. I'm not going to explain the accident, but the young brother ended up passing away from that accident. And this is right after he chose to straighten his life out. Like, I believe that God works in mysterious ways, and if it's your time, it's your time. You know, like, I can honestly sit here and say that God has saved me time and time again. Why? I have no idea. Does he have a plan for me? I have no idea. But what I'm doing right now, like, I'm doing it knowing full well that there's going to be a lot of haters, and there's going to be a lot of people who don't believe in what I'm saying. Yeah, honestly, I don't care. My thing is, God is watching over me, and God is the one and only that I need to please. You know, like, I love my parents and my siblings and my family, but when I do this for the younger generation, it's with the hope that they understand that this is not a life to live. Yeah, like the young brother Jobsy, he spent his whole life kicking it with these boys. Yeah, they were doing crime together, they were running amok together, and then as soon as he chose to go straight, he lost his life. Yeah, and this is the point of what I'm saying. He wasted all those years on his gang-related mates, because Jobsy wasn't gang-related. He was just the type that, you know how you have a gang, but there's always one that one guy in the group who's not gang-related, but you get along with him. Yeah, so that was Jobsy. You know, he was the kind-hearted guy who was like an angel. Yeah. Love you. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate you. and all the time that Jobsy gave his friends is time that he lost with his family. You know what I mean? And I know for a fact that that Jobsy's goal in life when he left his friends was to become a somebody, you know. And I'm pretty sure that he had a kid with this girl, or she was pregnant, or something like that. But his sisters, I was telling you right now, more loyal than the gangsters. You know, they went above and beyond every time. And the younger brother losing his life, it was a sad story, but it was a story that I needed to tell right now, because the young brother wasted all his time on all his gang-related mates, and then as soon as he chose to go straight, that's when he lost his life. You know what I mean? Appreciate ya. Love now. Like, I had to tell these stories because, yeah, I can sit here and tell you all about gang-related rubbish, but you also have to know the deep and meaningful stories, which is stories like Jobsies and Blackies. You know, young souls that lost their lives too early. The third person that I'm about to speak about is a guy named Cellah. Some of the boys called him knew him as Caps, but majority of the boys called him Cellah, especially the ones that grew up with him. Yeah, Cellah was a guy who was from Liverpool. He had a hard time coming up as a kid. He was adopted, and there was a lot of mental health issues that came with the upbringing, you know. But the difference between Cellah and the rest of the guys that was going through the same issues is that Cellah kept it all inside, you know. And this is what I have to explain to you young guys. If you have issues, you know, like especially dramas at home or dramas on the streets with other gangs and whatnot, like, speak up, you know, like to your elders, to the older boys, whoever you got to speak to, like, speak up. before I continue with this story about Cellah, which is a big, massive story, I need you guys to tap it up, yeah? Like, I'm here doing what I got to do for the younger generation. All I need from you guys is to tap, and tap it up. Get these friggin' likes up, and and help me. You know what? You know what's funny about this thing? TikTok got a hold of me, yeah, and I don't know nothing about TikTok, and apparently there's different types of ways to build your status, yeah. But pretty much, from what my team were explaining to me is TikTok has been allowing me in the last 2 lives to tell my stories now. As you guys have noticed, I haven't been cut off, and I think that TikTok have realized that everything that I'm saying is from the heart, and it's directed straight at the younger generation. So let's do this, guys. Tap it up and let me get on with the story. All right, Cellah, one of the most loyalist, sincerest guys that I've ever come across. You know, I can't put the word reliable in there because the brother, he couldn't be there for people because he didn't have money, and he had to take care of himself and his sister, and this is something that everybody needs to understand with Cellah, is that he was a strong-willed guy, even though he came from a dark upbringing, and he was a guy that never acted like he was down and out. Always had a smile on his face, and he had long hair like mine, and he was very muscly guy, yeah. And I remember, before I get on to what happened with him inside prison, let me explain this to you. Before he got locked up in prison, he did not take drugs, yeah? Like a typical islander, yeah, he'll have a drink up with the boys, but nothing extreme. But this guy, Cellah, he had hands, yeah? And he was always getting into dramas because he had a sister, and a lot of guys used to try to pick up his sister because she was like a pretty girl in the area, yeah? And he wouldn't put up with it. Like, as long as you treated his sister with respect, he was all good with it. He's not the type of brother who's who's over protective, you know. He let his sister do what she wanted to do, as long as she was taking care of herself. But Cellah's thing was, if anybody dared to touch her or say anything rude to her, like, he would step up to the plate, you know, straight off the bat. And I seen Cellah fight outside at Liverpool. He took on a group of guys because of his sister, but the bloke went on with it, and say no more. Like, everybody that was involved in that fight knew Cellah's name after that. But everyone back then, they were calling him Caps. And then another fight that broke out with Cellah was against the Rebels. 3 Rebels tried to put it on the younger islander that was with him, yeah? Same thing. Cellah stepped up to the plate, annihilated these 3 rebel guys, and by the time we got there, there was police everywhere and 3 rebel guys on the ground. And this is what Cellah was like. He was pretty much a one-man gang. Oh, love you. Thank you very much, G. Aloosh. Love you. A1 oosh. B. Smokes. So, fast forward when Cellah ended up coming to prison, yeah. Remember, the brother was not drug related, and he's a family man, and he was not the type to ever look down on nobody. He was my older boys, yeah. And he was always so kind-hearted and loving. And I met him at church, and it was his cousins that brought him to church. That's the first time I met him, and we got along so well. You know, a lot of people used to try to say that me and him were brothers because we sort of look alike, yeah. Anyway, when he came to prison, the racial wars was going on at the time. Monkey, thank you very much, love yous. And because Cellah had good hands, they all saw it for the first time at Silverwater Prison when he came in. And when the dramas broke out, remember, Cellah's got nothing to do with nothing. Dramas broke out with the Kuri boys and the Islander boys. Cellah was sitting there, had nothing to do with it, and it was about 7 Kuri boys on 3 Islander boys. The screws come rushing in to try to stop it, and Cellah, for some reason, because they were Islander boys, he ran in and got involved. From that day forth, every single person, every single Aboriginal remembered Cellah's face. Long hair, pretty boy face, and just muscly, yeah? And that was Cellah's biggest mistake. Just like mine that I told you last week. My biggest mistake was bridging up to the Aboriginal guy when I first come into prison. They never forgot my face. Same as Cellah. As soon as he helped the Islander boys and got involved, love you, G. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. As soon as Cellah got involved in that, everyone now knew his face, you know. And Cellah started going from prison to prison, obviously because now that the Aboriginals knew his face, he was taking them on everywhere he went. And it wasn't because he had dramas, it was because of that one incident where he jumped in for the Islander boys. Now he is involved in the racial wars without even knowing it. And this is going to come back to you younger boys. This is what's going to happen inside prison when you're trying to do your time. You have to try to stay focused on going home. I understand, like, you have to be loyal to the boys and whatnot, but you have to understand that if you stay inside prison, how are you going to help your parents? You know, how are you going to help your missus? How are you going to help your kids? You know, I'm not going to sit here and try to be friggin' your dad, because I was doing dumb rubbish when I was inside prison. And the dumb rubbish that I was doing was I had an opportunity time and time again. Love yous, thank you very much. To go straight and do my time and go home, but I didn't, because like my mum always said to me, Peter, your loyalty, you know, is a blessing, but it's also a curse, because I could never leave my friends with it. And when I was inside, I could never leave the Islanders with it. You know what I mean? And I said it to you guys. Cellah was the exact same type. He wasn't the type to step back and just watch his Islander brothers cop it. He was always getting involved, and this was the biggest mistake that the brother made. You know, was getting involved, because once he got involved, the older Islander boys now grabbed him and put him under their wing. Yeah, now Cellah is one of the boys. And remember, Cellah's a one-man gang. He can freaking stick up for himself. He doesn't need boys, you know. But the older boys grabbed him, you know, as soon as they saw that he had hands. And guess what? The first thing was that the older boys did to him. You know, they didn't give him food. They didn't take care of him. Guess what they did? They gave him drugs. You know, the brother's never, ever taken drugs before until he stepped into prison. And then the drugs was what brought him down, because once the brother got on the drugs, he ended up with a habit, and he started losing his way, you know. But when I was with him, even though he was on drugs, he was still the same Cellah. Smile on his face, always freaking having a laugh with the boys, and never ever looking down at the younger boys. Always taking care of the younger boys, you know. And then when Cellah was involved in the drama at Park Lee that broke out, that was it. Pretty much, you could say the Aboriginal boys had Cellah's name on their list. Wherever he went, he was gonna get got, or he was gonna do what he needed to do to get out of it. And don't forget, the older boys that took him under their wing, they didn't explain to Cellah about racial wars. I was lucky that I had friends that I had known, yeah? So these guys explained to me more about racial wars, and I was in and amongst all the drama that was going on. But with Cellah, because he was a fun-loving, loyal brother, no one ever sat him down and said, Cellah, this is how jail works. This is the groups that are aligned. This is the groups that are aligned with us. Make sure you don't cross the line, you know. But no one explained that to the brother. So pretty much what the brother would do is every time he saw an issue, he would jump in straight away. And everybody knew that Cellah wasn't the type to be effed with, you know, because he'll smile at you, but as soon as you step on his toes, you're gone, you know. And he wouldn't fight with sheaves. He wouldn't go get knuckle dusters. He wasn't the type to go break brooms. But this guy would just use his fist. That's how much of a good fighter he was. But the end of Cellah's reign inside prison was when he actually realized himself that he was in prison. So remember, before he got to Lithgow prison, he was already on drugs and bad on drugs, you know. So when he got to Lithgow prison, remember what I told you guys, Lithgow prison is in the shape of a coffin, and Lithgow prison and Bathurst prison belongs to the Aboriginals. I don't care what anyone says, yeah. The Aboriginals ran these two prisons. You know, if you wanted to come there, you had to make sure you got along with the Koori boys, because these guys, they axed anyone that they didn't get along with. They ran those prisons, you know. Kempsey, Wellington, all those other prisons, they didn't come till later. They were all opened later. I'm talking about the old school prisons that the Aboriginals were running, which was Bathurst and Lithgow. So when Cellah walked into Bathurst prison, obviously he knew, like, oh, well, I'm going to have to fight my way out of this one. But Cellah still didn't understand. This is racial wars. It's not a one-on-one, you know what I mean? But the poor brother, like, he didn't figure it out, you know? And I tried to explain it to him when I was with him. But remember, I'm young. So the brother would only take in what he wanted, and then everything else I said would go straight through one ear and out the other. Walks into Lithgow prison. First thing everybody sees is the guy with the long hair, pretty boy face, and muscly. Walks into his pod. Love you, G. Thank you. Murray, G. Thank you very much. And then next minute, he got attacked. The brother got abstayed several times. Like, everyone jumped him. Like, it was like everything that Cellah had been through for the last 2 years all came back and bit him in the ass. You know, and this is what I'm saying to younger generation out there. This is exactly what's going to happen to you guys. You know, all the stuff that you guys are doing right now, all of you youngsters were hanging around killers. All you youngsters were hanging around the baddest gangsters. Like, I'm not trying to tell you guys what to do, yeah? All I'm saying is, see what happened to Cellah? This is what's going to happen to you guys. You all think that it's fun and games right now until what happened to Cellah happens to you, you know? You don't expect it, but it will come back and bite you in the ass. I'm telling you, just like I explained to you about 2 weeks ago, the worst enemy that one could have is an enemy you don't know you have. Imagine going to a prison, you're looking around, yeah? And you're thinking, I'm good. I'm gangster. And then the smallest bloke gets ya. I've seen it time and time again. You know, it's the guy that you don't know. That's the one you got to be careful of. You know what I mean? You can stand there, be a tough guy all you want, but this is what's going to happen inside prison. You know, there's the stories that I'm going to tell you guys. Love you, Philos, appreciate you. The stories I'm going to tell you guys in the next 1 year, these are stories that are going to shock your brain, but it's actually real stuff, yeah? Like, the stories in Australian prison is not as bad as the stories in American prisons. There's a guy in America telling American prison stories right now, and he's talking about guys that had their eyes taken out, things like that. No, this stuff, like, America's America, yeah? I don't know if you guys know this, but in America, like, the rapists are walking around, the pedos are walking around and all that. So, you know, over there, it's like, if they got the drugs, if they got the mobile phones, they get to stay in the pod. You know, over here in Australia or in New South Wales, it's not like that, you know. There are things that happen here and there, time to time, but all those guys eventually get taken care of accordingly. But with Cellah, after he got wounded very badly, he ended up saying, you know what, F this, I'm over it. I never said I was a gangster. I never wanted to be a gangster. I was just sticking up for my people. But guess what? When that thing happened with Cellah, there was 2 Islander boys that were there as well, yeah? And they didn't get involved. Like, they also got umped. But guess what? Cellah was getting umped and he was fighting. Obviously, he's a strong man, so he was going hard, yeah? The other 2 were standing there trying to make out like they got nothing to do with it. And as soon as Cellah got umped, straight away the other 2 got umped, yeah? So these 2 idiots should have just ran in and all 3 of them should have stuck together and went hard. But that's what happens in prison, you know? You get those who can walk in and make things happen, and then you get those who freeze, you know, and they each say their ants pay, you know? Like, what can you do? That's prison. You got to deal with it. Right? That's why I never relied on anyone. I always relied on myself. And those that I'm close with, and those that were there for me through thick and thin, I'll never ever forget them. Hence why I always give them shout outs and give them my love and respect. But with Cellah, he went from Lithgow, ended up at other prisons, and then I was with him at Junee. When I got to Junee, Cellah was in protection, all right? And I walked in and I was in the main. I'm not going to mention the names of the other Islander boys that were in protection because 3 of these boys, including Cellah, were soldiers, like for the Islander boys, yeah? Gee, proper, love yous, thank you very much. And when I asked Cellah, I go, bro, what are you doing over there? When I got to friggin' Junee, I walked in and there was only 3 Islander boys, yeah? G6, love yous, thank you. And I was like, bro, what's going on here? I'm going to get my head umped on, you know, because when I walked in, it was just Aboriginal boys everywhere at Junee. This was 2004. And Cellah was in protection and I yelled at him, what happened? And he goes to me, so I'm over it. I said, over what? He goes, bro, I just want to go home to my family. Profile, I love you. Thank you very much. and he said to me, man, I've been going hard for all the Islander boys, and why? I don't even understand what I'm doing, what I'm getting. There's a Philos, thank you. I don't even understand what I'm going through and what I'm doing. He goes, look at me, like he lifted up his shirt. He goes, bro, I've been got so many times and I'm not even understanding what I'm involved in. JT, Sleaze, thank you. And I felt for Cellah that day when he explained it to me, but at the same time, Clary, Mr. Big, appreciate you. But at the same time, I was thinking to myself, what the hell? Like, I would never ever put myself in the boneyard. Doesn't matter, what's it called, how many times I get jumped, yeah? But I didn't realize back then. Like now that I'm grown up and I'm more wiser, I understand now where Cellah was coming from, yeah? He wasn't gang related. He was never trying to be a gangster. He came into prison and he fought for the Islander boys. And then once the older boys took him under their wing, instead of treating him like family and looking after him, they got him on drugs, you know? And then the brother was inside protection and he was pretty much like over it. He was like, bro, I'm doing my time and I'm going home. That was a good thing, yeah? But guess what? The drugs had already defeated him. Lorena, appreciate you. You know, like, the brother was like, he couldn't control it, like his habit. I was there when he was going through this, you know, he probably tried to quit drugs like 6-7 times when I was there. Simple, appreciate you. When I was there with him in 2004, but that's what it was. It was ugly as F, you know, like, but the brother, like, I give it to him. Bucks, yes, thank you. When I walked into Junee and I knew I was going to have problems, Philos, appreciate you. For those of you boys who are all sitting there going, tell the story, tell the story, tell the story. But got in there, outnumbered, silly, and then I was with one of the Tongan boys who I'm not going to say his name because I know the guy, this Tongan guy got out and he went full legit family man, everything, you know, so I'm not going to mention his name. But stupidly, this Tongan guy came and told me the Kuri boys want to talk to you. And then I said to him, if they want to talk to me, tell them to come here, because I was with the Asian boys at the time, yeah? Zala, thank you very much. And what happened was, Murray, thank you. When I told this to the Tongan guy turned around to me and goes to me, nah, dog, all good. Come over, like, I get along with all the Kuru boys. They just want to talk. And I already knew deep down, like, that I was going to get jumped, yeah? Jimmy's, thank you. But this Tongan guy was older than me. He was Cellah's age, one of the older Tongan boys. And remember, Cellah's inside protection, and at Junee, the fence is probably about 3 meters high, yeah? So you can just jump over the fence and come over if you had an issue. Mo, thank you very much. So he dragged me, this Tongan guy, to the other side. I walked in and I'm standing there and I'm talking to a Kuru guy. And then out of the blues, I seen something at the corner of my eye. I flinched, yeah? As I flinched, I got hit with an ice water bottle and it hit me square in the shoulder and it just missed my jaw. As I stepped back, I shaped up. As I shaped up, I turned and like pretty much the younger Kuru boys just ran at me, yeah? I threw a punch and I turned around and I legged it. As I ran outside the wing door and then I ran towards a broom that was standing there. I grabbed the broom and I snapped it. And remember what I said? See Cellah? He's the type who would just stand there and fight, yeah? Wouldn't grab brooms, wouldn't grab sheaves, nothing like that. Me, I was a young kid. I was 2004, so I was only like 20, yeah? And as soon as this happened to me, I quickly turned around and I ran. So I had all these Kuru boys chasing me outside the wing. As soon as I got to the broom, I snapped it and like both ends of the broom were sharp. And I was standing there and I was like yelling, come. And all of them like backed off because the screws, they didn't back off because they were scared of me. They backed off because all the screws started looking, yeah? And then I walked off and the screws were looking at me and I had the broomsticks down so they couldn't see it because at Junee there's an office. And when you walk past it, if you put your hands down, they can't see anything. So I walked. Thank you, Irish. Love ya. Hi, Z. Appreciate you. I walked to the wing where the Asian boys were, and I was holding the two sticks in my hand. I was just waiting for the Kuru boys to come and attack me, yeah? They didn't end up coming. And then the older Kuru boys came, and they said, hey, you have to have a one-on-one with the guy. For those of you guys who came and watched my live last week, yeah? Don't forget. Remember when I was telling you about how I got involved in the racial wars, how the drama broke out? Remember, it all started over a cordial bottle. And then I started getting jumped. Every prison I went to, I was getting jumped by the Kuru boys. And if I wasn't getting jumped, I had to have a one-on-one, you know? One-on-one's all good. Getting jumped, like, yeah, I did pretty good. But my point is, to all you youngsters, like, I was only a kid at the time and I was going through all these rubbish. And yous are all kids right now that are going through things. You don't need to be involved in this stuff. Learn from my mistakes, yeah? So when I was at Junee, and this situation happened with me and the Kuru boys, I was standing there with my two broomsticks. No one came, and then the Tongan guy came. And the big Tongan guy came over and he started apologizing. He goes, hey, also, I'm sorry that I took you over there. I didn't know these cunts were going to do that to you, you know? I'm sorry, look, bro. And I go, get out of here, bro. I go, you serious? You freaking set me up, took me over there. When he wouldn't leave me alone, like he kept following me and saying to me, also, I'm sorry. I realized he actually was sincere. He didn't mean to set me up the way he did. I didn't realize this older Tongan guy, it was his first time in prison. So, Y2, thank you. I didn't realize, Silva, that he took the Kuru boys from face value, yeah? So when they said to him, no, just bring him over, we're going to talk out a little issue, but it's just going to be talking. He come grab me thinking he's one of the older boys, went over there, and then I ended up getting ice water bottle. And my shoulder was effed up for about a week. I couldn't even move it. That's how hard he hit me with the ice water bottle, yeah? And now I was waiting for something to happen. Obviously, the Asian boys came over. They gave me two of these just so I could watch my back. And I didn't expect any of the Asian boys to back me up. My thing was, I do what needs to be done on my own. The Tongan guy, he was so strong-minded that even though it was his first time in prison, he goes to me, Uzo, he goes, grab whatever you need to grab and let's go. And I said, go where? And he goes, let's go over to the Kuru board. He goes, me and you. He goes, we're going to go on with it. And I said to him, what's wrong with you, bro? I go, bro, this is your first time in prison. Like, we can't just walk over there and go on with it and expect to walk out alive. I go, brother, it's a whole wing. You know, I said, I don't care. I do dumb things, yeah? And I said, you saw what happened then. I said to him, not even half the wing chased me. It was only probably about a few boys who chased me out of the wing. And then lucky for me, I found that broom that I snapped and it kind of stopped them. And then they didn't do anything because the screws were watching. And I said, bro, if we're going to do something, we have to go on with it. I said, don't come to me like saying to me, oh, bro, let's go over there and go on with it, yeah? And then the Tongan brother ended up understanding what I was saying. Like, bro, I think he was just upset of this Tongan brother because he felt bad that he set me up because I'm a young kid, yeah? And he just walked me in there and got me ice water bottled. Anyway, the older boy, Kuri boys got involved, told us to have a one-on-one, went out, and when I walked out, I didn't realize all the Asian boys followed me out. So I had the big Tongan guy watching my back. I was ready for my one-on-one, and then all the Asian boys came. And when the Asian boys came, I turned around like that, and then they winked at me and they said, don't worry, we got your back. So I was like, all right, sweet, even numbers. Kuri boys, I got the Asian boys, and the big Tongan guy, yeah? Standing there, getting ready for these one-on-one. Long story short, one-on-one was done and dusted. Old mate came out second best, but at the same time, I could have annihilated him, yeah? But I'm the type who uses my brain. For someone so young, I knew how to navigate prison and the prison system and also inmates. And my thing was, if I attack this guy hard out and then he ends up on his ass and then I start pounding the hell out of him, bro. The Asian boys, yeah, they're strong, but they're skinny guys who go on with it, yeah. And mind you, the Asian boys are dangerous. But we were all outnumbered by the Kuri boys, and I thought to myself, if I put this guy on show and I put him on his ass, we're gonna get annihilated. So what I did was, the first 2 seconds of the fight, I clocked him twice, and he was already dazed. He was like back like this, yeah. And then when he came in, I let him give me a hit to the side of the head. He threw it straight. He missed. I clocked him again. Then he grabbed me and he gave me probably about 4 knees. And I swear, like, I just let it happen. I swear 1, 2, 3, 4. I felt the 4th one and I picked him up upside down and I slammed him on his head. But the thing is, I was thinking to myself about me and the Tongan guy, because I was thinking to myself, bro, if something happens, then me and the Tongan guy are gonna get hammered, because the Kuri boys outnumbered us. And you know, again, respect to all the older Kuri boys that were there that day. They were the ones who made sure it was a one-on-one. And the Kuri boys obviously could have annihilated us that day, but they let it be one-on-one, and then we left it at that. But I kept having dramas with the Kuri boys over the past, yeah. But the point of my story is, see Cellah? Remember how I told you that he could have jumped over the fence? So when this whole issue broke out, yeah, Cellah came with the other 3 Islander boys, the ones that I was telling you about, and he goes, as soon as something happens, we're gonna jump the fence and then we're gonna go on with it. Like, this is the type of person Cellah was. Like, so much dramas broke out at Juni during this moment. I'm not gonna explain it because I'm gonna save it to tell in full, yeah. But there's big stories of what happened over there during this time in 2004 to 2005. But this is the type of person Cellah was. Even though he had said he's over it, he's done and dusted, he's not getting involved in anything else, as soon as he found out what was happening with me, straight away Cellah was like, all good, so he goes, I'm there for ya, we'll jump the fence, we'll do what needs to be done. That story will be told next time, yeah? Right now, it has to come back to the younger generation. All right, let's deal with this. Blackie and Jobsy, 3 good boys, yeah, who didn't deserve what they ended up going through after prison. And this is what I'm saying to all you youngsters out there. It's not about surviving prison, yeah. It's about what's gonna happen to you when you get released. You know, I've been speaking to a lot of younger generation boys who have been messaging through. So all of you that I haven't replied to, I apologize wholeheartedly. But I got so many messages coming through. But just remember, you made the time to message me, and I'm gonna make sure that I make the time to reply. Yeah. Now, this is where I want to end my life. See this cell behind me? This is Supermax cell. It's not the normal cells in the main. Yeah. This right here is where I was sleeping. Like, just looking at this cell, like it's cringe, because I know what I got up to when I was in there. You know, I'm not the type that does head miles. I'm not the type that that goes through a lot when my cell's locked. See the back at the back over here? That's our yard. Our yard is very small, yeah. That toilet over there, the shower is right next to it, and you only get 6-minute shower in the morning, 6-minute shower at night. Right here, where the mattress is, if the screws, Marie, the simple, appreciate you guys. If the screws see that that you're being a smart ass and you think you're some tough guy, they'll take that mattress off you and you'll be sleeping on that rock bed. Do you guys know how many times I've had to deal with sleeping on that rock hard ass bed just from being Mr. Tough Guy? And this is what I'm saying to you younger boys, yeah? See this cell? If you end up inside prison, yeah, remember my words. I warned you. I gave you brotherly advice, you know? Like, this place here is the worst of the worst places. This prison cell is Supermax. Supermax is the most inhumane prison in Australia. Let me tell you something. There's going to be a lot of things that I'm going to be bringing up about Supermax. And one of the biggest things is housing the younger generation with the older boys. John, Alex, appreciate you guys. Like the amount of time that the older boys in Supermax have used the younger boys to do their bidding. Mate, I'm telling you right now, it's just a shame, you know, because these younger boys who went in for not a long time, like I explained to you before, young Muslim brother named Harachi, yeah? You know what? I'm not even going to bring his family into it. But young brother Harachi was only had 18 months to go. The older Shabebs got into his ear and they made him freaking do things that he shouldn't have been doing. He ended up getting... Who the hell gets charged, yeah, for napping inside prison? So one of the younger Shabebs, he ended up being a snitch on the older Muslim boys. He also snitched in Harachi, yeah? But when Harachi only had 18 months to go, bro, I begged him, please, bro, don't get involved with these rubbish. You're still young and you're about to go home. They got into his ear. They used religion to take control of him, you know. And the brother is so loyal, so reliable, so sincere that he'll go above and beyond, you know. And he went from 18 months to 44 years. I'm not even going to explain like some of the stuff that he got time for. He got 7 years for writing a letter to the commissioner and say that he was going to do these to him. He got 10 years for napping inside prison when he tied up the other his cellmate and whipped him. You know, like that other Shabeb who snitched in all the other Muslim brothers. The amount of times that the Muslim brothers helped this guy, like, wow, I couldn't believe it. How can this bloke turn on his own Muslim brothers? Like, they prayed together every single day, 5 times a day, you know? And as soon as he felt like he wanted to go home early, that's what he did. He snitched in all the Shabebs so that he could go home early. And he used the napping from Harachi to go home early. And this is what I'm saying to you young guys. This is what's going to happen to you. The older boys are going to use you inside prison and out here. And then as soon as the consequences come around, they're all going to disappear. And guess what? Who's paying your legal fees? No one. Hey, your mom and dad can't afford it. Your missus can't afford your legal fees. So guess what? You're going on legal aid. And guess what happens when you're on legal aid? You don't get good representatives. And guess what happens when you don't get good representatives? You're going to be stuck in jail for another 10 years. Yeah, that's what I'm talking to you about right now. All right? I got freaking 10 years, yeah? Love you, Marie. Appreciate you. I got freaking 10 years for something that I had nothing to do with. I should have got charged for accessory after the fact. Meaning, when I got there, the situation had already occurred. That's accessory after that fact. I should have got charged for that. So to all you jewelry members that's watching this right now, yeah, you all remember my face, yeah? Because you are all the friggin' idiots that found me guilty. I give you my word, I had nothing to do with it. And to all you 3 ladies that were standing there crying that day, yeah, you shed a tear for a reason. You locked up a bloke for 10 years for something you had nothing to do with. I should have got charged for accessory after the fact. And I had shit legals. I had lawyers who were setting me up, and then the best appeals barristers in New South Wales turned around and threw it in my face and said, oh, even though the victim turned up and said you had nothing to do with it, I don't see you having any points for an appeal. How do I not have points for appeal when the freaking victim turned up and said I had nothing to do with it? That's where I'm at right now with all you youngsters, yeah? This is what you're going to go through. No, I'm not trying to tell you boys what to do. Here's my story. What a shit story, eh? See how I ended it? What a shit story, eh? This is what's going to happen to you if you keep going down the road you're going. I know it's hard to work a 9-to-5 job. I know it's hard looking at all the gangsters rolling around in G-Wagons and Porsches and whatnot, yeah? But if you don't want to end up in prison, then just do you, bro. This is the era of technology. It's freaking much more easier for you guys to make money than it was for us back then. You know what I mean? We had to go and work a 9-to-5 job and do what needed to be done for the family. But you guys, in that's was, appreciate you, love you, thank you, Butsy, appreciate you. You know, and you guys, mate, it's so easy to make money today. You know what I mean? Like, the amount of stuff that I found on YouTube and Google since I got out of prison, like, mate, I've started up so many things in the last 15 weeks that I've been out. And what are you doing? Like, I just got out of prison after 7 years, yeah? And I had to start my license again. I went and got my L's. Then I went and got, I had to do this stupid thing called hazard test. I passed that. And then I got my red P's. So if I'm in there for 7 years and I got out and I worked my ass off to do this, I got rid of my freaking, my Centrelink and I got a job straight away. What are you doing? Are you still rolling with the oi bays, waiting for that next object to come along with the hope that it'll be a big hit? Or are you still sitting there, drinking up with the oi bays, talking about your next big score? Because trust me, you know, illegal money is what we call blood money, yeah? That blood money goes real quick. You spend it like it's nothing, yeah? All right. All the lingerie waitresses and all the pros, they're all cheering because you go out and do crime and then you spend it all on them, yeah? And then all the lawyers, they're all cheering because you go out and do crime and then you're spending it all on the lawyers, yeah? But you know, when you work hard 9-to-5 job, or when you're striving to make things happen for your family, when you get paid from that and it's legit, bro, I'm telling you, it's money that you cherish. That's all I'm going to say for today. I really appreciate everyone for tuning in. And to all the younger generation, I'm going to tell you again, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I explained my story with the hope that you guys learn from it. That's it, you know. To everyone who's been sending through gifts, I love you, Adris, appreciate you. Like, and to everyone that was tapping it up, the likes, my team standing behind me and saying to me, bro, you got 1.1 million likes. I love you, I love you, I love you. I honestly appreciate all the love and respect out there, and all I can do is my best, yeah. Yeah, boy. This Friday, I might not go live on Friday. I'm trying to find a day away from the footy. Everyone's complaining to me that they want to watch the footy, but my live's at the same time, so they're trying to balance it. And obviously, if you're watching the footy, you want to have a good watch. So I'll keep everyone updated on the day that I choose to go live. Before I go live, but before I jet off, my love and respects to each and every one of you. It is what it is with Triggz. I'm out.